You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. How you doing, Oliver?
I am good, man. How are you?
Hey, just great. Just another day in the rodeo here.
Hey, I hear you, man. Do me a favor as we get into this, and as folk are coming in to check us out. Check your LinkedIn real quick just to make sure. I think there's something going on with LinkedIn. I don't know what's going on with your LinkedIn. You might have to remove it and re-add it, but I think we're good on a lot of different platforms today. So if you're joining us for this conversation, it is going to shape up, I believe, to be a enlightening and enriching conversation today. Talking about, well, I'm gonna let Juan say what we're talking about, but I think here's what's, while you're doing that, Juan. Here's what's interesting for those of you that are watching this.
I'm in there.
The conversation we had before we went live. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe that'll tee up a preview of some sort to a different another
Yeah.
episode at some point.
Yeah. Well, we probably will, but we're gonna give the people what they came for. And I want to thank everybody who did. If you are here for the first time, let us know where you are coming from. Get into the chat. Let us know. This is about you and I getting to know one another. We all want to get to know each other. So the chat is open. Um, let's talk to each other on Facebook, Instagram, or not Instagram, LinkedIn. Um, let's talk. This is about us helping each other navigate this thing called life. And so tonight it's going to be about just how do we do this thing. We've been talking about in the past. Last week we were talking about things that it prevents. That's balanced life, things that it prevents. um and before we get started, I know we got started a little bit backwards here. Things weren't playing and weren't operating quite the way it was supposed to, but let's introduce ourselves. My name is Juan Lee. I'm the founder and executive director of Clear Journey, which is a nonprofit that supports individual and family members that are struggling, in life challenges. And we educate and we give you resources so that you can navigate life more successfully. We want you to be successful, and we're here to give you what we have so that can help you. The thing that we do is a balanced life, and it's all about living a better life. If you live a balanced life, you can live a better life, because the tools of having a balanced life allows you to navigate life more successfully. So that's who I am. I'll tell you more about who I am later on, but we're going to get into Oliver. Tell them who you are.
I am all things passionate about relationship building and men's enrichment. And as such, I am an author, speaker, and coach in that space, sharing my journey, sharing the things that I've experienced, the wisdom that I've gained, the lessons that I've learned, the education that I've garnered around making sure that you communicate on an extraordinary level, that you recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time, and that you build a holistic, intimate bond. And so that is my life's work. That's something that I believe I've been called to do. And that's me, man, in a nutshell. I want you to be able to build and maintain the relationship of your dreams. And if that is something you're interested in, I'm the guy you should see.
Well, and just to let you know, he is a strategic partner of Clear Journey, so it's not a big deal. it's He's one of us.
in
Um,
house.
yes. Um, but yeah, so as far as tonight's um event or topic for tonight, it's basically about now, instead of what does the balanced life prevent, it's about what it is that the five things, the five daily things that we can do, that the practices, um that will help us live that, to elevate our lives to what we want it to be, you know. And I want to thank you all for coming tonight, because I think it's these things that we're going to be talking about tonight. They're not things that you've probably never heard of before, but we want to be able to share them in a way in which we can be intentional about the things that we are trying to do with the intention of living a better life. And so let's just get started right off the bat. Um, the first thing, the daily practices. You might not think that this is an important one, but I'm gonna tell you, you will not really believe it in the sense of what it will do for you. And it's mindfulness, meditation, and prayer. It's the thing that we can do. Every one of us can do these things. Now, I threw prayer in there because I think it's important that we understand that all of these things we talk about, meditation and mindfulness, they all have the ability to relieve stress from us. And that's something that we had been talking about when we talked about preventing. It can alleviate stress, prevent, um, improve our cognitive behavior, and give us that inner sense of peace. And that's something that I know for me, for my sake, that's a part of my day, you know, spending time just reflecting on just being, to be honest with you, it's about being humble.
Mhm.
That's in the nutshell. It's just about being humble. And
Yeah.
when you can demonstrate that by doing things like mindfulness, meditation, prayer, it really gets you to a point where you can really begin to see yourself in a different way. What do you think, Oliver?
I agree with that. I there is there's something grounding, if you will, about having that as a part of your routine, right? We talk about the necessity for balance and how we can achieve that in various ways. And I think this is really one of those things that if you incorporate this into your daily routine, we're talking about the 5 daily practices that you can incorporate. This is one of those things that allows you to, especially if you're intentional about doing this and not doing it haphazardly. This is one of those things that allows you to always get to a point in your day where you are centered, and then you can leave that experience from a place of being centered, which allows you then to, a lot of people say they do it early in the morning, right, so that they can kind of set the tone and the pace and the cadence for their day, because they come out of that experience now, and everything else that happens is now filtered through that level of grounding that they were able to achieve during this process. So I think it's very important.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long. It's not like
It
it's
does not
something that
take long.
it don't have to. It doesn't have to be a 3 hour event.
Right.
You know, it's something. I think the biggest part about this is the intentionality. It's sort of like when you recognize that it's important that you do it because of the value that you know that it has.
Hmm.
It's not that, I'm gonna try this. It's like waking up and breathing. It's that intentionality to say, okay, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be conscious of the fact that I'm gonna spend some time. I'm gonna center myself, not jump out the bed, alarm clock go off,
Hmm.
and you running out the bed. I can relate to. This is interesting because The last 5 or 6 years, probably longer than that, probably the last 10 years of my working career,
Hmm.
I worked evenings, and I never used an alarm clock anymore.
Wow.
I didn't have to use an alarm clock. Now I might be suffering from that now because I'm struggling with my sleeping. But the fact is, I didn't have to use an alarm clock.
Hmm.
So I woke up I woke up when I woke up,
Hmm.
and I was able to allow myself to start my day, um very, by meditating, by allowing myself to roll into my day instead of having to get running and start and jumping, because I've been there. The alarm go off and you jumping, and you before you know it, you don't even you into your day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what, mindfulness and meditation, it basically say, look, I'm gonna if it's in the morning, I'm gonna get up 5 minutes earlier. This is the practical stuff. I'm gonna get up 5 minutes earlier. If it's the night, before I go to bed, I'm gonna shut everything off before I go to bed and give myself 5 minutes to just think about this thing, meditate, just pray, be mindful, but it's intentional. That's I think everything that we're going to be talking about tonight is about being intentional. Anything else you want to say about that?
I like that you said what you said too about capping your day as well, because I think there's something to be said for um and I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but I think there's something that to be said for starting and ending your day the same way. Starting with some level of grounding and ending with some level of grounding, right? Because I've heard individuals talk about it from a psychological standpoint. The way you go to bed is generally going to be the way you wake up. So if you go to bed with some level of chaos surrounding you, whether it be in your thoughts or whether it be in the physical space around you, there's probably more grounding you'd have to do in the morning to really kind of set the tone for the next day, as opposed to capping your day with reflection, uh, and going through that process of meditation and prayer and mindfulness that puts you in a space of ease, allows you to really kind of center yourself around gratitude, looking at what happened during the day from a positive perspective, and then going to sleep in that vein will allow for you to then more easily move into that space when you wake up in the morning. So I appreciate you talking about capping your day in that way.
And it's and that doesn't even speak to the how you will sleep.
And how you exactly, and how
And
you will sleep.
I am a boy. I have been on the journey as it relates to sleep. And the things that they talk about is your nightly routine
Hmm.
and preparing to go to sleep.
Hmm.
If you go to bed wired all up, you're possibly not going to be able to sleep too well.
That's right.
Um, and that's again, it has multiple benefits to you to be able to do this in the morning and in the evening. It has that benefit to be able to scope your day out and then to bring your day to a conclusion and say, look, even sleep is important. And to be able to make yourself put yourself in that space so that you can get that refreshment that you need.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, the next one is something that I learned as a result of trying to write my book, and it was journaling. The gratitude of journaling. That is a place where you can cultivate positive mindset and begin to recognize the good things that you have in your life.
Mm.
It was very interesting for me as I was writing my book. I was thinking because it started about a journaling. I was just journaling.
Hmm.
And I realized that as the result of this, I was like, maybe somebody else could gain something, learn something from what my experience was. Because to be honest with you, I didn't even recognize the value of my experiences. And what journaling allowed me to do is to see it for myself
Mhm.
and understand this journey that I've been on. And so that was allowing me to see, hey, this is not have been it hasn't been that all a bad life.
Mhm.
And to begin to look at it in a way and say to see and make sure that in this regard, it's like looking for the positive things in life, writing them down, making them a part of your resume, so to speak.
Mm.
That's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I can say just full transparency. I am, I am in a season of growth as it relates to gratitude. I've been doing over the last, I'd say maybe 6 months or so, I have been reading a considerable amount on this topic of gratitude, um, because of the power that it has to completely redesign the way you think,
Mhm.
and essentially redesign, as it redesigns the way you think. Now my perspective is shifting, my approach is now following that new perspective, and I'm seeing different things, man. So the gratitude piece, I think, is phenomenal. Now I will admit, I'm not an avid journaler. I've always kind of toyed with it and kind of fell back. My wife is a little bit more consistent in that department than I am. But in terms of really kind of seeing things through a particular lens and being intentional about viewing things through the lens of gratitude, I think is a game changer for anybody who is looking to elevate their life in any way. Is really switching out the lenses that you are looking at things through. Will man, I can only speak for myself. So the journey that I'm on now, it's eye opening to see. It's eye opening to see what the possibilities are in terms of how my life can be elevated. It's also disheartening, if I'm being honest, to to recognize how much has passed me by as a result of not looking at life through that lens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you think about it and you go like perspective is everything.
Hmm.
And the ability to be able to connect journaling to gratitude, it really defines how you journal.
Hmm.
And so it's important to understand that that is what you're doing, is that you're trying to basically restructure the way in which you have viewed things, because we can complain all day. It don't take much to complain,
Hmm.
but to be thankful, be to give us, to change the perspective of what we're thinking about and how we think about it. It's everything, and it allows us to bring into ourselves what we desire more than complaining about what we don't or what we are having to deal with.
Hmm.
It really is.
Yeah,
um
that's a good one.
Everybody who's, if you're there, if you have any questions or have any concerns, say, put something in there, say, let us know what you're thinking about this. um the next one is continuous learning. Man, we can't say enough about continuous learning. Stimulates the mind, introduces new perspectives, and it keeps us, rapidly looking at a world that's changing, prepared for those changes. You know, I don't, I think in my story, I guess, you've probably heard some of my story if you've been around for a while with me. And that is that with a learning disability, that is my challenge, is a learning disability. but I cannot compromise learning.
Mm.
I've got to learn every day.
Mhm.
It's not an option. That's what life is. With life without learning, when I gathered the value of learning, there's nothing greater than I want to do than learn.
Yeah. And it's important. You hear many people talk about and throw around the phrase uh, about being uh, 1% better today than you were yesterday. And and it's not that difficult to do. I'm recognizing as I've gotten older that it may not always be you sitting in a classroom. That's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is things like, man, I'm not going to say the name of it because they're not paying us for sponsorship, but I ran across this app that allows you to actually take a book, truncate that book into a 10 to 15-minute piece that helps you to get the essence of what that book is about. Even if you only had 15 minutes, at least you would have gained something, some level of knowledge, right? And so there's both ends of the spectrum and everything in between to allow you to go through this process of continuously learning, whether it be a YouTube video or a podcast or a conversation like what we're having right now, or sitting down with a friend of yours and having a conversation, whatever it may be, all the way up to those who can jump into a classroom and jump into a webinar and a paid course and those kinds of things. But you should always be looking to uh, end your day with more knowledge than you began.
Every day. I mean, because that is so important. Because, like I said, the things that you need for tomorrow, you don't have it. You got to prepare for it, and you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and to not learn something more new today, that leaves you at a disadvantage for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything, and here, Audible books.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing.
Yep.
Audible books. It's my thing. So that is 3 of the 5 things that we wanted to talk to you about and share with you as the daily practices to elevate your life. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we're going to show you what Clear Journey is going to be offering in November. It's a webinar. Here's what we're offering in November. Hello, everybody. This is Juan Lee from Clear Journey. I just want to let you know and remind you of our upcoming webinar. It's called Harmony at Home. We are going to be having a webinar on the November the 4th at 6 p.m. and I want you to be there. It is going to be a magnificent event for you to learn some tricks, some hacks about building the bonds of health and wellness in your families. So we look forward to you being there. Go to Clear Journey and register for the free webinar. Go there and register. We are looking forward to it. Seats we are limited. So please register as soon as possible. And we look forward to seeing you there on November the 4th. Yes, everybody. That is the event.
That's gonna be a good one.
Huh?
I said it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, and guess what? Oliver is going to be one of the panelists, you all. So you're going to be there. We're going to have 3 panelists going to be there. Oliver is going to be one of them, and we're going to be introducing those participants coming in the near future so that everybody get a chance to know who they are. But that's what's coming up. So we want you all to be there. Register. Go to clearjourney.org and register. It's going to be a great event, and we're going to have gifts for those that register. All righty. So let's get back into it. The 5 practices to elevate our lives. So we talked about the first one was mindfulness, meditation, and prayer. Then we went to gratitude and journaling. And then we said continuing education and learning, which is critical. And the next one, number 4, is physical activity, it boosts your mood, improves your physical health, and increases the energy in your energy level. It doesn't take a whole lot to do this. It really doesn't. It seems like 30 minutes a day. Now it's to the point where if you got a watch on, they're talking about steps and stuff. If you get a certain amount of steps, you'll be surprised as to how much those things will play a part in your health. Just doing those walking things. And I mean, because I've been an athlete all my life. And now, for me to somebody tell me, all you got to do is 10,000 steps and that gives you, but it's amazing just to keep yourself up and running. But when you're younger, exercise, and it doesn't seem to be a big deal.
Mhm.
But as we get older, and we all are going to get older, we have to intentionally know that we need physical activity.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. Listen, I can use myself again. That's another journey that I'm on. I've had these bouts where the journey has been a race, and then I've had these bouts where the journey has been sort of spectator. And I'm back to one of those. I'm not back at the race yet, but I um definitely recognize and understand the importance of physical activity. And so there, I've been doing some things, and so I'm definitely happy about what's going on in terms of me getting in some activity during the day. Um, and so I urge everybody to. We're talking about 5 things that you can do, 5 daily practices. So this is one of those definites that you have to incorporate into your daily routine.
To elevate your life. I mean, because this is what we're talking about. How can we allow the things that we do daily to help us elevate our lives? That's what we're all trying to do, is to live that better life, that life that we can raise to the next level. We talk about elevating and raising our businesses and stuff to the next level. How about our lives? How about our health? How about
Yeah.
our everything that allows us to raise our businesses and stuff to the next level? Um,
And it has impact. I mean, it has. If you think about all that's been talked about so far, the ability to keep yourself physically active, to keep yourself in a good state of health, lends itself to your ability to do some of these other things, to continuously learn, because blood flow is happening the way it should. So you're getting oxygen to the brain so that you can ingest these things that you're learning, right? You're in a different frame of mind because you have the oxytocin and the different things that are happening. If you get out in the sunlight, you got the vitamin D. And so now you're thinking better as it relates to the mindfulness piece, and you're just feeling better. So the ability to filter things through a lens of gratitude is a little bit easier because you're not carrying any dead weight, no pun intended. You're feeling a lot better physically, and that lends itself to what happens with you mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually.
yeah, yeah. And it connects you to everything else. Without physical activity, your health, you're going to run out. It's all going to run out. And so the last one, number 5, it's self-reflection. And I tell you, I don't know how to say this, but it's really um it's the source of getting to know yourself. You know, when we begin to stop and look at ourselves and think about what it is, who we are and what we stand for, um, it really begins, have to be mindful. That's that mindfulness of who we are, who I am. And to be able to do that, I mean, I tell you, when I was I was in back working, people that were working for me, I used to ask them, what what do they think about me?
Mm.
Because sometimes you're biased about how you think you're being presented or how you present yourself. And I used to ask people, I said, what do you think? What do you think about me? And it made me think, put me on my toes. And you can't get offended when people tell you they don't, this certain thing that they don't like about you. But it
Mhm.
was that part about it that I liked people to tell me, how they thought about me. And it allowed me to, do some introspection, because when you ask somebody to tell you who you are, you get a chance to go, maybe I need to fix some stuff.
Mhm.
But this self-reflection, if nobody else does that, have the willingness to do it yourself. Do some self-inspection.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so that's the one thing that probably hasn't been difficult for me just because of my who I am as it relates to my personality. A lot of people who see me in these forums don't believe me when I say this, but I am almost an extreme introvert.
Yeah,
Like
you said that.
when I get out on stage, you get a different version of me. You get a very passionate version of me, but I spend a significant amount of time in here. So there's a lot of self-reflection that takes place. But I will say this. What I'm learning to do now is to kind of mold that self-reflection in a way that doesn't keep me spinning in my head, but causes me then to look at ways that I can make adjustments or things that I maybe need to shift or just being a little bit more giving myself a little bit more grace or uh actually accepting the fact that I might be good at something that happened. Like this was a win for me, So I'm looking at it in those kinds of ways, and that allows me to really uh, to learn and grow as opposed to just being on this hamster wheel spinning in my head of just regurgitating thoughts. It's me looking at it that way now is helping me, I believe, grow.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the whole purpose, I think. And that's what we're talking about in the 5 daily practices to elevating your life, is that's what we want.
Hmm.
That's ultimately what these things are all about. It's about all of the ways that we can grow
Yeah.
and be a better person. And that better person starts, again, all of these things start on the inside. We want to be able to project a good person as much as we want to be a good person,
Hmm.
a better person. And it starts on the inside. And these things that we talked about today, and just to recap, is the mindfulness and meditation and prayer. I mean, it's a way of staying humble. That's a way of being able to stay humble as we go through this. And then gratitude journaling. It's a way of being able to see what it is that we are being thankful for, the good things. We can determine those things that we capsulize in every day we go through our lives. And then a continuous learning. Have the desire to want to learn.
Yeah.
We cannot allow a day to go by and feel that we didn't learn anything. A day that we didn't learn is a wasted day.
Mm. Wow.
It's a wasted day.
Wow.
I mean, let's be honest with you. We don't get
Yeah.
but so many of these days.
That's true.
And if we can't put something together and gather something so that we can take to the next one, what good was this one?
Mm.
It's a building block. This thing, we don't go back and as we go through life, we don't go, we don't become 25 and then go back to 24.
Hmm.
To 25 and we going forward to
Keep moving.
26. And that we got to learn something.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
And then
Crucial.
the physical activity. We've got to be intentional, man. I can't it's so easier to lose that thing because everything, it comes so easy as we're younger.
Hmm.
And as we get a little older, it has to become more and more intentional.
It does. Yeah.
And here's the point. How well we plan or we keep this activity up will determine what our future days will look like.
Mhm.
You know, And then self-reflection. I mean, it's just, what do we know about ourselves? And I'll be honest with you, this will probably be something that will resonate with you a lot. And that is that, hey, until you know yourself, relationships
Yeah.
are going to be
True.
a challenge. They're going to be a challenge until you know yourself.
That man,
Self-reflection.
don't I know?
Hey, don't we know?
Yeah, indeed.
Don't we know?
Indeed.
So, I mean, these are just things that we can just take an idea and hey, none of them has to be um, something that you have to do. You have to want to do these things.
Hmm.
You got a desire to want to do these things. And I'll be telling you, uh, if you start the meditation prayer thing, you'll be amazed how your day will go from start to finish.
Yeah, that's true. It sets the tone. You're right.
From start to
It
finish.
sets the tone for your day to really be yourself in a space, like we were talking about earlier, to put yourself in a space that grounds you, that centers you, that allows you to think clearly, that allows you to cast some vision, that allows you to see some things and really put yourself in a position to jumpstart the rest of your day. I think is, man, that's gold.
And it doesn't take but 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep.
It doesn't take long, you know. It's the out of every one, all of the things on this list, that one you can get started today.
You can get
Right now.
started today. So listen, if you didn't write these things down and you were just listening and enjoying the conversation, we'll flash them on the screen one more time for you. You got mindfulness, meditation, and prayer, centering, grounding, getting in a space that will allow you to set the cadence for your day, gratitude, journaling. And we talked about that and the importance of gratitude and the lens with which you look through life, continuous learning. Make sure you're writing these down. Continuous learning. You already know that's important. That's crucial. Physical activity and self reflection.
Yep. That's the five that we would like to share with you as it relates to the practices to elevating our lives. So, that being the case, I thank you for you all that were able to come in and for the encouragement of, I saw we had a heart from someone, and I appreciate that. Look forward to coming back next week and we can do it again. Um, but with that being said, Oliver, oh, by the way, we are our It's Life podcast. It is the final episode is coming up um, this month,
Man,
and we want to be able. The first season has come to a conclusion, and we want everybody to know that while that is over, you can go back and listen to that on either of the YouTube channels. You can do it on Juan Lee, the author's YouTube channel, or you can do Clear Journeys um, a YouTube channel. If there's something that you haven't, by all means, go back and listen to them. It's our first season, and it would really be great. If you would like to support us, also go to Clear Journey, and we would really like your support. And by all means, if you also had not heard about our wellness program or our webinar that's going to be up in November, by all means, go to the website, register to attend the webinar. We are going to tell you more about it as it gets closer, but by all means, go to the website, register. It's free. We look forward for you being there. And I can't tell you, we just want to help you become the best you can be. So, Oliver, tell people who and where they can catch you and find you.
if you're a social media person, you can look up the handle Denali, Denoli LLC, everywhere. And you will find us on social media. If you're an email person, you can email me, Oliver at denali.org. I would love to have a conversation with you. As I said in the beginning, I am passionate about seeing relationships thrive and men win in every area of their lives. Let's have a conversation and see how I can assist you.
Well, that's great. I think you all should catch up with Oliver. And if you want to reach out and touch me, you can get me at info@clearjourney.org. And also, just to let you know, I'm the author of Love Made Simple, The Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success. And if you would like to pick up a copy of that, you can also pick up a copy of that at the website also, or you can get it on Amazon, or you can get the audio book that's on Audible. And guess who is the person that's actually reading the book?
It's a familiar voice. It's
Exactly.
maybe a voice you've heard before here and there.
And you should go pick it up, and you will hear that voice again. So, we thank you for spending your evening with us and look forward to seeing you next time. And as we say all the time, we can't change life, but we can surely help you navigate it. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.